So I want to ask you guys something, and especially you, Seamus. And I'm stealing this from Xavier, so I'm sorry, Xavier, but he posed a phenomenal question, and I think it's worth asking. And you know me, I am Mr. Quality, 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 right? I don't care how many threes they're taking. I care about the quality of the threes they're taking. But at what point do these open threes, right, these generated threes, good looks, when do they not become great shots anymore? Because the Celtics, they haven't they haven't really been making them, even the open ones. I mean, we've seen Al Horford struggle from the behind the arc. We've seen Sam Hauser struggle. Tatum recently has kind of entered this little slump now we're seeing with his 3-point shooting. Jaylen Brown has been up and down all year. I mean, Holiday and White have really, really struggled from behind the arc. So while I agree that the Celtics are really good when they're getting open shots, it feels like they're doing that at times and they're still not dropping. So at what point does that open shot for Boston, it's still not the best look? I mean, do you ride or die on this hill?
I mean, I think you have to because that's the team's philosophy. And if you're going to bank on mathematics and statistical analysis on the perimeter, you got to just keep taking them if they're open because statistically, law of averages. And I know it's kind of a buzz phrase for Celtics Nation when Brad Stevens talked about it, Joe Mazzulla talks about it. But the law of averages should work out if you're missing a ton of open threes, a ton of open threes. Well, there's a streak coming in which we're going to make a ton of open threes, and that's just the case. And I can understand now. Maybe you look at it and go, well, some of these shooters, maybe they're just not the shooters which we thought they were at a certain point in time. But we've seen this team: Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, Brown, Tatum, White, Holiday, even Horford, Kristaps Porzingis as well. They've been a team in which almost on opening night set the single game 3-point record. And last year they dominated from 3-point land the entirety of the season. So you have to believe in this team that one day, even these open shots that they're missing right now, it's going to come around and they're going to start making more of these open looks than they're missing. And I think you just have to lean on that because that's the team's philosophy. But if you go away from it, you're going to have to find other solutions to the problem of creating offense, which is going to come with going down towards the paint, going down low a lot more. But I would just say, in terms of today's NBA, that's just not really what the Celtics are built for. This team is supposed to be long and physical, but we really have not seen that physicality a ton out of the Celtics team this season. And I would say that their game is more perimeter oriented and perimeter based. So I think for the rest of the year, they're just going to have to lean on that 3-point shot and really creating those open threes and doing a lot of the same of what they've already done in terms of the balance of threes to twos. Now we don't see it the same every single night. Sometimes we see we've seen a couple games which we shot less lately and gone to the rim more. Maybe we want to see more of those performances. But we have seen performances too where, oh, we're shooting 63 pointers and we're not even looking at the two for half of the game. So I think the balance is important for that conversation. But I think the Celtics, they're going to just continue to be one of the most prolific 3-point shooting teams in the NBA this season, if not all time. And if they hit those open shots, they're going to win by a ton. And if they don't, they could lose by quite a few, as we saw on Friday.
Right.
It's hard on that because open shots are open shots, and it's hard to pass up on open shots when you're one of the greatest shooting teams of all time, and you have a roster where essentially there's not a single guy on this roster that can't hit a 3-pointer. Maybe outside of Nemish Queta. I mean, okay, Tillman, but we have seen Tillman make threes. We haven't really seen Queta make any threes
too.
But I mean, every single guy on this roster pretty much can hit a shot from the 3-point line, whether it's 60% clip or a 25% clip. Every guy on this team can make a three, and that's what this team is built around. Celtics have the luxury of being able to play 5 out. Again, I'm a broken record when it comes to this, and Rob, I know you're right there with me. It's how are you taking these 3-pointers? If you're going to take 60 a game, okay, well, what are we doing to get these 60 looks, right? Are we doing the whole ISO shabam for 20 seconds out of the 24 seconds on the shot clock and just chucking up a three tonight? Shot clock was low, but I thought there were so many different other shots. Hell, I'll take a 24-second clock violation before I watch a damn 40-foot step back three. And that's what I saw tonight from Peyton Pritchard. I mean, that was just totally unnecessary. But I think you'd be concerned if you started to see the Celtics not take these wide open looks. And we talk about this all the time with guys like Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard. We're like, ooh, they've had slumps. It's like, yeah, well, I'm not concerned, because I'd be more concerned if they hesitated and passed up that open look rather than actually taking it themselves. What I will say, though, is continue to drive to the basket. The Celtics are a dominant team when they drive to the basket. And as of late, they've shown that. They've done a pretty solid job at getting to the basket, getting into the paint. And if that's how they generate those wide open three looks, I'm all for it. But as far as the whole shot chucking thing, and David had a great breakdown of the 3-point attempt looks in which the Celtics have been taking this year, whether it's a specific amount of space that the Celtics have when they release the 3-point shot. If they're generating those good looks, bombs away, in my opinion. But at the same time, you do have to have that balance, and I think the Celtics have that balance. They just haven't really utilized it too much. They've been so focused on those 3-point shots. And I will admit, this might contradict my point I made a little bit earlier on the Celtics needing to start games off better, but the Celtics usually get wicked trigger happy when they start hitting threes early in the games. A couple threes fall, and all of a sudden the Celtics think they're red hot, and they just keep firing away, and that just gets them in a bigger hole than that they can dig themselves out of sometimes, and that could come back and hurt them. But if you're shooting those open threes, Rob, I'm all for it. If they're wide open, they're generated good looks, keep taking them. That's just the philosophy, as Seamus said, the philosophy which his team is set up with.
Right. And for example, for our viewers, tonight, the Celtics only took 44 threes. I mean, that's not that many, right? In today's league, right, you see teams hit that 40 mark quite a bit, but the quality was terrible, right? So tonight, it's like I am a nat, right? I'm like, oh, okay, like, yeah, we took more twos than threes, but guess what? We're still taking bad threes. Right. So I would way rather prefer, again, to see 63-point shots that are great quality looks that are generated within the offense over 40 or 35 just bad contested threes. So again, for anybody watching, yes, number watch and stat watch, sure, but really pay attention to Boston when they're playing, because they can be getting downhill and getting to the basket and not finishing at the rim. They can be dishing. So there is a difference. Don't just stare at the numbers and don't let that tell them the story, right? Really dissect it, really look into it.